Time for a Man in Gray book review. Today's book is Jimmy Carter by Julian E. Zelizer, published by Times Books in 2010. It's 208 pages. This volume is part of the American President's book series edited by Arthur M. Schlesinger Jr. and Sean Wilnitz. Julian Zelizer is a historian who teaches at Princeton University. Jimmy Carter had a paradoxical career. He succeeded at everything except being president of the United States. Before the White House, Carter was a successful farmer, a naval submariner, and a popular governor of Georgia. After he left office, Carter built homes for the poor, helped eradicate guinea worm disease from Africa, monitored foreign elections, wrote best-selling books, and won the Nobel Peace Prize. It was only during his presidency that Jimmy Carter seemed to founder at every turn. Carter was the last of the presidents of the 1970s who entered office with high approval numbers and left very unpopular with the voters. Lyndon Johnson was undone by the Vietnam War, Richard Nixon by his own inner demons, Gerald Ford by a terrible economy and his decision to pardon Nixon. But Carter had to face a series of crises both domestically and in foreign policy. His responses to these events alienated not just Republicans, but his own Democratic base, and led to his landslide defeat by Ronald Reagan in the 1980 election. Zelizer argues that the high point of Carter's presidency came on day one when he broke with tradition and walked with his wife down Pennsylvania Avenue to his inauguration, something that would be impossible today. In his inaugural speech, he appeared to offer change and a new direction following the Watergate scandal and Ford's largely incompetent administration. But it wasn't long before Carter's lack of Washington experience and his disdain for the more liberal Democratic leaders in Congress got him in trouble. Carter tended to lecture those who disagreed with him and often came off as stubborn and self-righteous. He had to deal with high inflation, largely due to the Arab oil embargo, and high unemployment, two factors that do not usually occur at the same time. It was during this period that the U.S. economy was shifting away from manufacturing as those jobs were being outsourced to Asian countries. The rise of personal computers and the information economy that they initiated were still years away. It would have been difficult for any president to be successful domestically given these conditions. Jimmy Carter's boyhood memories of the Great Depression led him to advocate austerity measures rather than more government intervention to relieve inflation. It was a decision that ultimately worked, but at great political cost. Carter's decision to boycott U.S. participation in the Moscow Olympics following the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan was widely unpopular, as was his decision to return the Panama Canal to Panamanian control. Whatever chance Carter had of re-election was torpedoed when Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took the diplomats hostage. Carter's decision to grant the deposed Shah asylum and medical treatment for his cancer infuriated the Iranian public and led to the hostage-taking. The CIA's failure to anticipate the Iranian Revolution was another piece of bad luck for Jimmy Carter. Carter's decision not to publicly campaign while the hostages were being held may have been proper and even noble, but it made it more likely that he would lose. In the end, Reagan's lopsided victory was catastrophic, not just for Carter, but for the Democratic Party as a whole. The Republicans would control the White House for 12 years and leave Democrats struggling to rebuild their party. After leaving office, Carter was determined to still be a figure for causes he believed in. Instead of golfing, giving paid speeches, or jumping out of airplanes, he set up the Carter Center to advocate the cause of international human rights. He joined Habitat for Humanity and built houses for the poor and the homeless. He raised money for disaster relief. His efforts to provide clean drinking water for impoverished African villages led to the elimination of guinea worm disease in 14 countries. He even took time to teach Sunday school at his hometown church. As this brief biography shows, Jimmy Carter was a good, moral man whose presidency failed partly due to the bad luck and partly due to the very personality traits that made him a great former president. The book is Jimmy Carter. The author is Julian E. Zelizer. This has been another Man in Gray book review. Thanks for watching.